Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share more platform pop-up cards with you, this time with the Simon Says Stamp and Art Impressions exclusive limited edition stamp die combo called Home and Heart. I think these images are absolutely darling and I wanted to create an interactive pop-up card with them, making sure that I was creating darling scenes, something that will make the recipient smile. I'm going to stamp all of my images on Bristol smooth cardstock using Fawn Jellyfish no line coloring ink. I do need to ink them up a couple times. A, I need to re-ink my ink pad, and B, these images have not been stamped before, which does tend to require them to be stamped more than once. I will zoom in a little bit and show you my coloring. I've sped it up quite a lot to save time. All of the colors that I'm using for my images are shown in the description down below. I have left the coloring in for both cards, with the exception of anything that is a duplicate like the basket of flowers or the birds. We're going to start with the bunny themed card. These images are so cute. So I love this bunny holding all of the little bunnies so super tight in this big squeeze. I love that she's wearing a little dress, and it's just a super cute image. I am a huge fan of the images, the Bonnie Krebs images for Art Impressions. I think they are beautiful, and I've really been into no line coloring again. I go in phases where sometimes I want to color with Copics, or sometimes I want to ink blend or add shading to colored die cuts with inks or whatever the case may be. I had taken kind of an unintentional break from my Zig markers, and I'm back. I've used them a whole lot here lately, either in videos that I've shared recently or upcoming videos, depending on when this one comes out. And I just love them. I think they are super fun, and I still love the no line coloring with these markers. I decided to do each of the bunnies in a different colorway so that they would really pop and stand out. I'm also going to grab a fine tip black pen while I'm working, and kind of as I go with each bunny, I'm going to start drawing in the face. You can still see the face pretty well. I will say that I stamped and colored these immediately. I have found that sometimes if I stamp the images, let's say the evening before, and then I come back to them the next day, sometimes I don't know if it's quite as easy to see the face. The ink does tend to fade a little bit. So it's just kind of up to you. You can always reference your stamp. That will help with placement for eyes and things like that. There's like little whiskers and eyebrows on some of them, and of course the cute little noses. I did try to pick a very fine tip black pen, so this is a 0.01 Tombow Mono multi-liner. I like these for when I'm using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. After I have the shading, we're going to just kind of keep moving on to each section. So this is the mama bunny, her arms wrapped around all these little baby bunnies. And I just like to keep double checking. I also checked my stamp set. What I love about Art Impressions is that they have, like the cover sheet that comes in the packaging, they have like a coloring of it, which I think helps make it a little bit easy to see different sections. Sometimes when you get an image stamped and it's line art like this and you go to color it and it's really detailed, it can be kind of hard to see what's what. And so a lot of times I will refer to my stamp anyway, but I do think that the little cover sheet that comes in here is really nice. I do want to encourage you that if you like this set, if you want to add this to your collection, you are probably going to want to do that fairly quickly. The limited edition exclusives that Simon does do tend to go pretty quickly. I really love that they are offering one at this time of year in the spring summer season as opposed to holiday. They usually have one in holiday too, but I really love that they're offering one at this time of the year for all of the spring and summer cards that we're making. I just thought that was super fun and really exciting. These are going to coordinate back to maybe some other images you have from Art Impressions. I think you could even mix some of these images in with other designers' work. If you are looking for additional images for your cards, don't be afraid to mix and match. You're going to see that I'm going to pull in like some little additional die cuts for my cards, but I did keep it pretty exclusive to the stamp set. Anything I added was just to kind of help reinforce the story of these particular images. I talk a lot about when I'm doing a scene card, building a story in my head. And so I had two very distinct stories with the images. On one hand, I have the bunny, or the bunny holding the bunnies, and I knew I was going to use the birds and the barrel of flowers. And so I thought kind of an outdoor garden-y type scene would be really cute for this image. And then we have the bear holding like the little baby bear, and he's got a band-aid on. So cute. In fact, I think these would be really fun, or this set would be really fun to pick up for next Mother's Day. It won't come in time for 2022, but I think this would be a fantastic one to have on hand for Mother's Day cards. Definitely the sentiments in the set. I think there is only two, had to look at it, that are mom themed. Honestly, any day can be a Mother's Day though. You could send this to a mom anytime, but I really liked trying to find ways to make them non-Mother's Day cards, which is what I did. So one of them, the bunnies, that's going to be kind of my sending a big hug, thinking of you, or it even could be more of a thank you. And then the distinct story for my second card, and then sentiment. So the story of the bears is I decided I wanted my pop-up to look like they were in a den. And then that's just kind of a You're a Berry special kind of card, which could be an anytime occasion as well. For the bunny's dress, as I've been talking here and coloring it, and both the mama bunny and the mama, I'm just going to refer to them as the mama bunny and the mama bear, have dresses with aprons. I added stripes to her blue dress, and then I'm taking the tip of my marker and I am just making little flowers all over her apron. I decided I wanted both dresses and aprons to have a pattern to them. And it's really easy to do. Her apron is yellow, so that dark bright yellow was perfect for flowers, and then light green added cute little leaves. It's super imperfect, but I think when you step back and look at it, you don't see that imperfection. It just looks like a cute little floral yellow apron. And I love those big feet sticking out of the bottom of her dress. For the den, I had, oh, I know. I found the Lawn Fawn den dies to cut kind of a hole. So it's going to be more of an imagining that the bears are inside the den and then the outside is out, which I'll show you and talk a little bit more about that when we get to that card. For our bunnies though, I definitely used my pattern paper resources. I am in a phase lately where I am really enjoying adding pattern paper to cards again. It's something, I think that also goes in phases. I recently picked up a whole bunch of new pattern paper. It's not here yet, but I've really been loving it. I've been digging back into my pattern paper pads and finding the perfect patterns for different cards, and it was really fun to try to find the right colors for these cards as well as the texture. I've listed and linked any of the pattern paper that is available in the description below, but definitely shop your stash of pattern paper and see what you have. Some of my go-to favorites, and I used a lot of it in today's cards, are the Sunny Studio Rainbow pattern papers, and they've got stripes and polka dots, a couple of different patterns, paper pads, pardon me, with stripes, and then another one with polka dots, and that's going to be what I've used for lots of the elements of my card. And then like earth tones and things like that I grabbed from other paper pads. And then a cloudy sky, I looked for a cloud pattern paper, is from a honeybee set. I love to mix and match. The blue bow around the barrel, I colored it to match my bunny's dress, and I'm going to add some little stripes to it. I imagined the bow kind of tacked on to that metal rim that goes around the barrel. And then the flowers, I tried to color in little groups. They're pretty small with no line coloring ink. My best suggestion, I don't think it's hard, but is to just start in a little area and color that, and then move on to the next area and the next. For the greenery here, after I had got down my yellow blooms, I decided to go ahead and just try to find any of the greenery and color that in. I wanted lots of color represented in my flower bucket. The bunnies are all in neutrals, and then we've got some blues and yellow in her dress. And the birds are also going to be blue. So I felt like some nice pops of color in the bucket, or pardon me, the barrel of flowers would add a great little pop of color to the design. So we got some little yellow flowers, some purple, and then we're going to have like a little bit of peachy red down here near the base. And that's going to be carmine red and light carmine with a little bright yellow in the flower centers. I ended up choosing a color combination for the birds then that is a little bit darker than the blues I've used elsewhere on the card. So it's going to be more like a deep blue, and the exact name will be listed below because I cannot think of it at the moment. But I went in with my darkest color and kind of just added a little detail, and then I'm going to blend that out. The little heart will die cut separate from the birds. The birds will die cut as one. Their beaks kind of touch. And I will tell you that after I had die cut everything and started assembling my card, I decided that I needed an extra bird for this design. So I stamped it again, and I only colored the small bird, die cut it, and I just kind of fussy cut around the beak so that I could have a third bird for this card. And that's an easy way to add some additional birds that are in the same style. When I create platform pop-up cards, one of my go-to favorite techniques are floating elements, or in this case, a floating element, which is going to be that heart. Out of the platform pop-up, I have my base die cut from some great striped Sunny Studio paper. This is a beautiful green. I thought it would kind of represent springtime and grass, and that was my plan for choosing this particular pattern paper. And then I'm just going to kind of unfold that. I like to fold both halves of the platform pop-up with my bone folder on any of the score lines. It makes the assembly a lot easier. If you haven't checked out any of my other platform pop-up cards, I will have links to those in the description down below. So we're going to start with one half of the platform pop-up, and I'm going to take some strong adhesive, and on the little short tab and then the longer tab, there's just two per side, I'm going to place the double-sided adhesive. So we're going to do a little here and then a little right here. For each platform pop-up, you need 3 of those white kind of T-shaped elements. that you can see over on the right side of the screen. It does not have to be die cut from white. You can use something else. This is just the heaviest cardstock I have, and I like that element to be a little thicker. And then on 2 of these, there's a little score line down at the bottom. You're going to place adhesive on the little short side. And on the 3rd little T there, you're going to cut off the area from the score line to the bottom, and that's going to be the piece that goes in between. So we're going to just concentrate on these with the adhesive. So we're going to take one of these, place it through the bottom. I'm going to take, I like to use my Spellbinders Tool-in-One to remove the backing paper and keep my fingers out of the adhesive as much as possible. Fold that down and press it in place. Remove the adhesive from the longer little tab, fold it up, and press it in place. Literally, it's easy as that to create 1/2 of the platform. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side of the platform. Something I've been doing lately, I did not do this in like my first videos with the platform pop-up, is I like to go ahead and add anything to these different little tabs, or the layers, if you will, of the card while it's still kind of unassembled and still flat. In this case, I've die cut grass for 2 of the layers out of green textured cardstock from Fawn. And on the 3rd layer, I actually die cut the rounded kind of, I wanted it to look like dirt, so you can kind of see it up there in the screen. That one is going to be where the carrots are growing, like a garden. So I'm assembling the other half of the platform pop-up just like the first one. I am going to fold it down flat. I'm going to take the 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive. I use the thicker adhesive for the other tabs, but the 1/8 inch works great for these. And I'm going to remove the backing paper, and this time we are going to assemble our little dirt for our carrot garden for our bunnies. And then in between, you're going to want to cut that little section off of the T, as I mentioned earlier, and you're going to put strong adhesive just on the thicker part of this element, not on that skinny part up above. We'll put some adhesive on that in a little bit to add our 3rd layer, but we just want to put it on this thicker part, and it's going to go on just one side of the platform pop-up. So this will be sandwiched between the 2 halves. Then on one of the sides, it doesn't matter which, I'm going to go ahead and just use the one I'm working on. You want to put strong adhesive on this bottom portion from the score line down. Make sure it's nice and clean and there's no adhesive hanging off the side. I'm going to peel off the backing paper again using my Tool-in-One. And then you're just going to place these kind of back to back. Press them down really good. Use your bone folder if you want to. And then before I assemble the sides, I'm going to go ahead and place that 1/8 inch adhesive on the 3rd tab, the one we just sandwiched in between the 2 halves of the platform pop-up. And we'll place our 3rd layer. In this case, it's going to be another layer of grass. And there we go. On the 2 short sides, we're going to remove the backing paper, and then we're going to fold it in and just secure it. And our platform pop-up at this point is complete. You can use the platform pop-up with or without the add-ons. I am using the add-ons today to build that background back behind the elements. However, the great thing about coloring with the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, that unlike an alcohol ink-based marker, they don't bleed through the cardstock, so it isn't super ugly back behind. This tree is from the Fawn Park add-on. I think this is an old set, but I loved that it's kind of forms half of a tree. I originally thought I'd have the 2 trees kind of coming in, and I quickly realized that that's not going to work. I literally played around with this forever, trying to figure out the best placement. But ultimately, we're going to take our tree and assemble it. I think my glue is clogged. Assemble the tree trunk to the top of the tree. So I used the Sunny Studio polka dot paper. This is polka dot parade paper for the treetop, and I'm using the darker side. It coordinates really nicely with the grass, but the grass is striped and this is polka dot. I thought it was really cute, kind of whimsical and fun. And the trees are kind of meant to do how I have them laid out here, where they kind of create that arch. Well, something fun, and I actually did this on a card years ago when this set came out. Like, I think this set's been out like 3+ years. I know I had it before I moved, so it's been out for a while. If you place them the other way, it makes more of a single tree, which is what I'm going to end up doing. But before that, I am putting some glue down on the bottom of my elements, and I'm tucking them into my platform pop-up. On that middle layer, that's where I'm going to place my bunny and also the barrel of flowers. I ended up not putting anything on that very back layer, but that's totally fine. It would get covered up because these images really take up most of the room. I could have put the flowers in the very back if I wanted to, but I didn't think it really needed it this time. Then I'm going to take, and I'm trying to figure out where to put my tree, and I thought I would glue it down, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. So let's not do that. Let's grab our birds, and I think we'll glue these down right here in the front in our little garden. I'm going to just make sure everything is staying nice and secure. Reverse tweezers are fantastic for this if you need a little more reinforcement. And then the platform pop-up add-on is going to be this piece here. You fold it on the score lines, you put some 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive all along the bottom, and it's going to hold in place, and it's going to create this beautiful blue sky. I'm going to tuck the tree in the corner, and I think it's going to be really cute. I think I'm going to switch corners though. The bunny's kind of tall, and if I put it in the other corner, it's going to show up better. Yeah, so let's switch that. I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive on the back of my tree. Don't put the adhesive too far out on the side on the right, as it will stick out. I actually glued that down on this side first, and I was like, no, I don't like this at all. So let me move it. I'm going to carefully peel it up. It happens. And I'm going to line it up flush with that top of the box, but I am not going to cut it. I could have probably trimmed it to fit that curved edge. I just didn't. I left it. And this side, we can have the adhesive all the way out. I had to remove it from the other one. And then we're just going to simply take that, making sure that we're not getting it in the crease, and we're going to adhere the other half of the tree. And it's perfect. I love it. I feel like it looks like a big tree in the back of my garden. Now, the only big bummer is I usually try to pick a pattern paper that looks pretty on the back. And I do think the pattern paper is pretty. I just don't think it matches my card all that well. But I decided the cloud paper was cute enough that it's okay. The back of my box is just going to be a little bright. I generally like to put like a little die cut rectangle back there to handwrite a message to the recipient. The recipient of this card is going to get a little message. I'm sending it to someone I work with. She just is awesome and does a great job. And so wanted to send her a little thank you for everything she does. After we have our platform pop-up add-on in place, I need to figure out my bird placement. I do want them down in front, so we kind of have a lot of tall elements. We can now definitely go in and add some small. I really did think it would be fun to tuck a bird up in the tree, but I just couldn't get it to work the way I wanted. And these birds aren't really flying, and so I didn't feel like they were the perfect candidate for a floating element. I am going to glue them kind of to the top of the little garden layer, and they fell off. So we're going to use our tweezers to hold those in place. And then I've got my acetate pick, and I think this is just a little leftover piece of Lawn Fawn acetate from a previous platform pop-up. And I'm going to place it in between the birds back behind the dirt layer. I like to use mini glue dots. I leave my acetate long. I can trim it down. So I'm going to take the little heart and place a glue dot on it. Place it somewhere on my acetate pick. It's pretty close down here at the bottom, but it's still floating. And then you can just trim off the excess acetate. And that way you're not guessing how tall you want it. I love the little floating heart between them. I think it's really cute. I felt like my bunny garden needed carrots. So I found these carrots in the Lawn Fawn Tiny Gift Box Bunny add-on. I die cut them from some textured cardstock. And then we're going to add them to our garden, 2 back behind and 1 kind of laying down in the front. If you have carrot stamped images, those would be cute too. I didn't even think to look. I know that there's some from Lawn Fawn. I think they would be cute with this. And then I'm just gonna kind of push that up. Sometimes the elements can be a little tricky to get positioned, but just kind of play around with it. And if you need to, tweezers are amazing at holding things down while liquid glue dries. On the finished carrots, I don't believe I show this on camera. I did take one of my zig markers. I wouldn't normally suggest using them on regular cardstock. I only shade with them on Bristol Smooth, but I took the tip of an orangey marker. I think it was a scarlet red actually, or it was bright yellow. It was one of those. And I just kind of drew little lines in on my carrots to give them a little bit more of a whimsical feel. This is the stitched rectangle from the platform pop-up. We are going to stamp a sentiment from the Art Impressions Home and Heart set using VersaFine ONYX black ink. I'm choosing Sending a Big Hug. This panel is going to go right on the front of the box. So if you've seen the platform pop-up before, you know that there's like stitched elements, either squares or rectangles that fit the different sides. Same with the add-on, the sky panel. You could do side panels or a background panel on that panel if you wanted to for extra layering, or even on the back if you wanted. Or there's the option for like wrapping a bow around. I do the bow a lot, but this is a great place I felt to add my sentiment today. So I'm going to add my sentiment, but it looks a little plain. And this is where adding an extra little bird, adding some fun little letter clay pieces. These are little envelopes. I thought that they were really cute there. They went with the Sending a Big Hug kind of theme. Those are from Trinity Stamps. And then we're going to put our extra little bird that we stamped and colored. I talked about earlier that I just fussy cut the birds apart. I'm going to have him standing on that stack of envelopes. And then there's several sizes of these in the package. I'm going to take a little mini envelope and kind of have it up above like it's coming out of his beak. And I'm adding red and white hearts around the front sides of the box to finish it off and add just a little embellishment. And if you guys know me, you know I like to add a little heart embellishment to all of my cards. I know we have the floating heart from the stamp set, but my little heart embellishments are one of my very favorite things. And there we go. Let's go ahead and assemble the bear card now. This one is the one where I wanted it to look like it was the inside of a den. This is some Honeybee Stamps pattern paper. We're going to color in our bears first. I hadn't really had a huge plan when I started. I knew what I wanted to do with the bunnies, but I thought I might even incorporate like both of these big images in one card. And then ultimately I decided I didn't really want to use them together, and I thought I would make 2 cards. And so I'm going to need an extra barrel of flowers, extra birds, and then of course our cute image here. And it's really good sized. It's the bear, the baby bear, and then the table with like medicine and band-aids and all of that good stuff on it. Just like before, no line coloring, taking a black pen and making sure I'm drawing that detail in immediately so that I'm not losing anything. The faces on the art impressions critters are really sweet. I used a little darker color for her cheeks so it would show up. So I used light carmine, but I did take pink haze and try to soften it just a little bit because pink haze is not really going to show up over the dark brown I used. And then I love that her feet are huge too. I just think it's really cute. I don't know what it is. I thought that was really fun. The detail here is amazing. Almost like storybook kind of images. I don't know. I love it. I'm going to give her a pink dress with a yellow apron. I guess I went with yellow aprons for both. So I'm using peach pink and sugared almond pink for her dress. This time we're going to add flowers to her dress instead of the apron, kind of opposite. Her apron's going to have a stripe, her dress is going to have a flower. I opted to not add any leaves to her dress. So once we get all the color down, I'm going to take, I believe, carmine red over the pink, and I'm going to just draw in the little flower again. Kind of messy, but you definitely get the hint that it is a floral dress. And I usually try not to color anything pink or red before I color everything else, but it looks like I must have been super anxious to color in, to color her in because I just went for it, didn't I? I'm gonna go ahead and draw all these little flowers in. I'm just using the tip of my marker, making sure some of them are looking like they're coming out of the folds and off the sides and all of that good stuff. Bright yellow and yellow for her apron. And I just kind of trace it out with bright yellow and then use my yellow marker. And then I even took some pale yellow to finish it off. And then go back with bright yellow and really lightly draw in some little stripes. For the second bear, I'm using brown and light brown. I really wanted to be able to tell the difference from one bear to the other, so I chose a completely different color combination. And he has a little shirt and overalls on, which is so cute. I love it. I want to make sure I don't color the band-aid on his leg. And we'll just color him in. And make sure get it blended really well. I did use a little mid-brown with my brown and light brown just to make parts of his face a little darker. A little bit more mid-brown for certain areas, add some definition, drawing in face, nose, mouth. So stinking sweet. Little inside of the ear. And then we're going to go back with our blues. I believe one of these is like cornflower blue. The exact colors are going to be listed down below. Sometimes all of these names of colors start running together in my mind. The band-aid's going to be a little beige and light beige. Make sure to add that detail. And then I used turquoise green and green shadow for his little shirt. Completely not a color I've used anywhere else in this card, but nothing else really worked, and I like it. I like this color with the pink and the yellow and the blue. I think it looks really pretty. Let's color in the band-aids in the box on the table. Again, beige and some light beige, little detail for the band-aids. The box itself, I'm going to want to appear white. We're going to use a little gray color for that. A little red for the X on the, or the cross X. How about a cross on the front? I did save that for last because the red does bleed bad. Mid brown and beige for the table. And we're just going to blend out. And then the little bottle on the table, I used lots of neutrals. We're going to give it like a yellow band around the bottle with a red lid. It really has a Tylenol feeling to it, doesn't it? I did not realize that till just now. But when I was coloring it, I was like, what do I color it? I just was like, oh, I'm just going to pick these colors. But come to think of it, that really reminds me of a Tylenol bottle. Whatever. It is medicine. And then we'll just add all of that in. And we're going to die cut this with the coordinating die, and we're going to be ready to start putting it all together. Remember, off camera, I did another barrel of flowers and more birds. So I've already put together the base of my platform pop-up, just saving a little bit of time here. The assembly's the same. This is all brown and it's all the same color. So again, imagining this is the inside of the bear den, and I kind of imagine that, you know, it's springtime, they're coming out of hibernation, and Mama Bear has her little den decorated with her flowers and all that good stuff. I picked this awesome pattern paper for the den. I thought it kind of looked like dirt. This is Honeybee Stamps. The exact paper pad is linked down below. And again, the back of this doesn't really match my theme that well, but it's totally okay. Now, for that platform pop-up add-on, I really, oh yeah, actually the back is like coffee beans, which really doesn't complement it. But here's what we're going to do. I die cut another one from the rest of that cloud paper, and then I've got a little grass border from the platform pop-up I'm going to place back behind this opening. And that opening was made with the Stitched Den stackables from Fawn. Of course, I had to use the den dies for our bear den, and we're going to layer this over the clouds so that it looks again like our bears are in the den and looking out at the blue sky and the grass, and she's got this little bucket of flowers next to the opening to the den. I mean, it's cartoon bears, okay? And that's going to give it a little bit more of a sturdy back for this one, but I did find it worked pretty good. I'd never layered two of these platform pop-up add-ons before, but it ended up working out great. So again, 1/8 inch adhesive all along the bottom edge. And we're gonna pop that into the back of our scene. Just like that. So cute. Now, the difference with this one is I opted to put something on each layer in my card. So I'm going to put just the mama bear and the table with all the medicine and stuff on the middle layer. On the back layer, that's where we're going to add our bucket of flowers kind of heading out of the den. And then these birds are visiting and they're inside the den. Apparently, but you know, they're lower to the ground, and I thought that they would be cute kind of up here in the front. And we're just going to do another little floating heart in between. Something different I did for this box. So this box is a lot of brown. I've not really done a brown platform pop-up before, and so I felt like it needed some color. On the last one, I only added my little stitched rectangle with my greeting. We're going to do that again here, but I did opt to die cut the bow from some Sunny Studio striped pattern paper in yellow. Yellow's bright and happy, and I think it looks good with pretty much almost anything. So we'll stamp "You Are Berry Special" on our little stitched rectangle and place it in the front. But we're going to wrap around that yellow ribbon first, and then place the rectangle over where they connect. And the bow is going to go up above the greeting for this card, which you'll see here in a second. I'm still fiddling with my acetate pick. Got my little heart up there. Perfect. So cute. So here's my stitched rectangle. I'm going to stamp this with VersaFine ONYX black ink, just like I did. For the last one, I want it to really be bold and stand out. And I know I mentioned this earlier, I love that these could be used for kind of Mom's or Mother's Day, but I love that they can be used for anything. So I made my cards very much an anything type of occasion, and you can just send it to someone special or someone very special. The two little hearts here on the greeting, I covered up with my favorite little red hearts because I love them. And let's go ahead and grab the rest of our elements. I'm going to wrap the ribbon die cut from pattern paper around the box. This is the yellow stripe from Sunny Studio. And I'm going to place my Berry Special right there in between. We're going to pop the bow in the middle. I didn't use the ribbon coming out the sides. I think I forgot it, honestly, but it's fine. And I'm just going to stick it up here above, almost like that's a gift. And then I'm going to put some little dabs of glue along my ribbon, and I opted to pick a rainbow of hearts. I thought I would do all red, but then ultimately I decided to do all kinds of colorful little hearts along the border. And I'm using my embellishment wand to easily pick them up and pop them in place. On the the bow above the sentiment, the heart color we're going to use is yellow, and it's a yellow on a yellow bow, but I like how it adds a little bit of texture and dimension to the center of that bow design. And let's see, let's move those tweezers out of the way and just push up the platform pop-up. Isn't it cute? And then we're just going to take that little yellow heart that I mentioned and glue it in place. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today for these two platform pop-up spring-themed cards using the Art Impressions and Simon Says stamp exclusive limited edition called Home and Heart. The supplies I use to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thank you so much to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We do exclusive lives for my top tier crafty captains every month, and you get all kinds of great benefits and early access. We would love to have you over there. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to click the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.